Hi there, step 9, it's socializing. Woo-hoo. It's also my birthday month and I'm a relatively social creature. So I've generally enjoyed socializing for the whole month of September throughout my life. And in fact, I used to call it my birthday month as opposed to just my birthday day. And also I tend to have a lot of friends and their birthdays also in September. So as a 20-year-old, we would be bouncing from one party to the next party to the next party. But as a 45-year-old, I don't so much get invited to as many parties anymore. They tend to be parties for my kids, not for myself. So that's really interesting because it plays really into what this step is about, socializing. It's not about parties. It's not about drinking. It's not about just meeting up with our friends to gossip or gas bag. It's deeper than that. And socializing that I'm talking about in step 9 really refers to forming those deep, meaningful connections with people, fostering social engagement through what we can give to others as well as receive to ourselves, and finding social circles and social networks that are just for us as an individual and as a human, and in my case, as a woman. And what I needed at this point in my life. Because I think often when we become parents, and particularly mums, from my experience, you tend to let go of lots of your old self and you move into your new life, and a lot of your social interactions come through interactions with other children and other parents. And that's all well and good. And prior to having children, many of my social interactions came through my professional life, because, I haven't just lived in one place all my life. I didn't go to the same school all my life. I moved away to go to university. I've lived all over the world. So I just kind of, every time I moved, I had to foster a new social circle and find new friends and fit into different environments. So as an adult, that's quite interesting, because when you're a parent and you are a mum and your wings get somewhat clipped and you are basically more at home nesting with your babies, you tend to lose a lot of that social engagement. And then you try to fit into mums groups and so on and so on and so forth. And again, all of that stuff is good, and it has its place and it serves its purpose. But often because we are creatures of habits, we tend to kind of stay in our comfort zone and go where we know and be with groups of people that we know. Whereas what I really wanted to do in step 9 was to help people understand that through fostering social engagement with a meaningful purpose and pure intention behind it, we can improve our well-being so much more. It's not to say that sometimes there's not wine involved and sometimes there's not coffee involved and sometimes there's not lots of fun involved, but those things tend to be byproducts or not the main reason why we want to build social engagement for ourselves. Because when we build social engagement for ourselves, we develop meaningful connections, we fulfill our soul purpose, we start to open ourselves up to more authentic connections with people, we seek out groups and organizations that are on a similar vibration to ourselves and on a similar path and trajectory, and we can use our unique gifts and talents to help other people. And then through helping others, we're also able to receive help. So that's really what it boils down to. And I wanted to find things that were just for me, because for me, I had lost that sense of self somewhat. And again, because I didn't have that one core group of friends that stayed with me. I've got one good friend from childhood. I've got one good friend from university. I've got a few good friends from work. But ultimately, the tens of thousands of people that I've met and had acquaintances and associations with throughout the years, they're not necessarily the ones that you call or you can go to for that positive reassurance and that meeting your needs, as it were. And your needs will change day to day, year to year, month to month. So therefore your social circles may need to change day to day, year to year, month to month. And it's not to say you need to flip from one to one to one to the other, but recognize what it is that you need. One of the ways you can ask yourself what you need is to review what I call my 10 tips to fostering meaningful social engagement. So they are in the book on page 122. And it talks about how do you go about finding social engagements that are right for you. Number 1, write down in your journal what inspires you. Write down who inspires you. Write down what and who you find motivating. Write down who and where you can help others. Set an intention to find opportunities to be social, and then be open to whatever presents itself. Ignore doubts, criticisms, fears, and other people's opinions of what you should be doing. Go out and try new groups. Be welcoming, friendly, kind, and non-judgemental to others. Share your experiences and vulnerabilities when you feel safe to do so. Leave your ego at home. Leave people with a feeling of increase after you've gone home. Now, some of these are really cutting to my core, especially number 6, ignore doubts, criticisms, fears, and other people's opinions of what you should be doing, because everyone else always knows what's best for us, right? Well, wrong. Only you know what's best for you. So finding opportunities for you to form your social engagements and develop your self personally is down to you. And yes, you might follow your friend to a group because it's fun and but it's not, something you might want to stay on and that person might fall away. It's really about sticking with things that meet your needs and help you feel whole as a person. And leaving people with a feeling of increase. This is really, really important for me, because when I understood what that meant, basically it means that people will feel as though you have had a positive impact on them personally, socially, professionally, and that because they spent time with you, their soul feels bigger. You lifted them up. You increased their well-being and their spirit. So if every time or many times you go into a situation where people feel bigger and brighter and happier and bolder because they had an interaction with you, that's really, really special and important. And in the same way some people make you feel lifted up, you get to lift up others. So that's what leaving people with a feeling of increase. And really leaving your ego at home and your judgments at home is so important, because how often have you been to a networking event where you stood next to someone who was too snobby to have a conversation with you and left you feeling really awkward? Well, they're clearly attached to their own egos, so therefore they're not going to foster meaningful engagement with you, or maybe they think they have enough friends or their network's big enough. So the question is, why are they there? Realistically, we go to a lot of networking events thinking we're going to foster a social network, but generally what happens is we leave actually feeling disappointed because they're on a very superficial level. They're not on authentic, deep and meaningful level. And that's where it's very different between having social circle and social engagement that's on a deep, meaningful level versus a very superficial level, which is a lot of what, networking events or even just events for fun tend to be much more superficial. And really, when I wanted to understand what motivated me, I wrote down in my journal, and I wrote maybe this in around January or February 2019 at the start of doing my 12 steps, what inspires me. So I wrote social enterprises. So I enjoy helping and giving back to charities and social enterprises. Number 2, my children learning. So I get really excited and inspired by seeing my children learn, as well as for myself, learning new things. So this book, oh my God, I've learned so many new things as a result of this book. Now can publish more books, helping other people. That really inspires me. I'm inspired by people that help others, and I enjoy helping others. And I'm also inspired by ordinary people. I've never been a celeb chaser, and I've met loads of famous people, and I've worked with loads of important people, but none of those people have ever inspired me to want to become them. People that inspire me are ordinary, everyday people who are going about their life doing things to impact a small number of people. So that's really important to me. And, throughout step 9, I challenged myself to find those opportunities and those to be able to foster meaningful social engagement for myself, use my skills and abilities and unique talents to help others, and to find ways that I could give back, because that was all of the stuff that inspired me. So it was really interesting, funny, fortuitous, whatever, that within the space of 1 week in September 2019, when I set the intention to be social, or to socialize with the view of creating a positive social network and foster meaningful connections with people, 2 opportunities presented themselves in the same week. And I had to say yes or no. And I said yes to both, because I had, what was it here? I said, set an intention to find opportunities to be social and be open to whatever presents itself. So in being open to whatever presented itself to me, when I set the intention to be social and 2 opportunities came knocking at my door in the space of 1 week, I didn't have to think about it for very long, because the universe wants you to succeed. And by following that mindset, the opportunities that presented themselves to me were the right ones. And I just had to say yes and take action. And now, 2 years on, I'm still involved with those 2 organizations. I volunteer, I've formed new friendships, I've had amazing opportunities. The people that I've met have supported my work. I've supported their work. I'm able to support my local community and use my skills, talents, and abilities to help others, and to support people who are also on their own journey. So that's been immensely beneficial, because I've been able to give, but I've also been able to receive through those 2 opportunities and intentions to foster meaningful social connections for people, and my well-being improved as a result. And that's really what it's about, because it's a mind, body, spirit approach. So fostering meaningful social connection is improving my spirit, the non-physical part of myself, as well as my mental health, as well as my emotional health, and also my physical health. So it's all interconnected, and you can't ignore one or the other. I talk in the book about social anxiety, because as a social person, as a relatively friendly person, I find it quite uncomfortable when someone is rude or snobby, or even people who are overly shy that you can't connect with. And I always try to understand why they're being like that. But once I started to understand a little bit about the idea of social anxiety, it's really when people feel very awkward in social situations. And so they just, pretend that they kind of don't see you, because they don't want to have that awkward interaction. And they're also really worrying about what other people think of them. Now that I understand that, I feel a lot more compassion for people if they appear snobby or rude or shy, because often I think to myself, well, actually, maybe they're suffering with social anxiety. And that's been a good shift for me, because it's enabled me to not judge them, not think they're rude and obnoxious, but also to think to myself, well, to keep making that little bit of an effort and a little bit of an effort and a little bit of an effort and a little bit of an effort over a long period of time actually then bears fruit. And, often people who you thought were shy or snobby or rude, or but they may be suffering with social anxiety, little by little by little, they will come out of their shell. And when they see that you're not judging them and you're still being friendly and you're still being kind, they will open up to you. And often that's where some really meaningful connections come from. So I've been really grateful that I figured that out. And that's why I put that image in my book. I don't hate you, I have social anxiety. It's really, really important. So for me, recapping, finding a healthy social circle, it's not necessarily about drinking and eating. It's about, building, increasing your soul, creating soul connections, creating authentic, meaningful connections with other people. Humans are innate social creatures. We do need that within our lives. And as modern life has, made us very much online or very much reclusive, because we have everything at home we can drink at home. We don't need to go to the pub anymore. We work out at home. We do all this stuff now at home, whereas before, we were probably involved in church gatherings, or we would do other things. Like I remember as a child, we did Clean Up Australia Day. We did all of these things where we had to do fundraising events for various charities as a child and a teenager, and I've always done that. But volunteering is becoming less and less trendy as people get as time moves on. And particularly young people volunteer less and less, and and older people too probably volunteer less and less. So we need to kind of understand the importance of volunteering for fostering meaningful social engagement, and we need to understand the value of giving. without the sole expressed tension of receiving, but also being open to receive. Check your boundaries and firm up your fences. So it's important to have good boundaries with whenever we socialize with people. You know, if people start treating you poorly and diminishing your well-being, or trampling all over your using you as a doormat, or being narcissistic. It's really important things to be mindful of in the social circle, because we've all had those people. You know, we've all had those people that think they know what's best for you and tell you what you should be doing. Those are people that you can withdraw from with practice and compassion. Never stand in a queue if you have no idea where the line is, what the line is for. So this is my big no-no in life. I will not line up for something unless I know what is at the exact end of that line and what is going to happen when I get there. Because we waste too much time in life standing in line. We waste too much time queuing. We waste too much time in our life just hanging around waiting for things to happen. And I'm not good at that. I know that. But also, why stand in a queue if we have no idea what is at the end of it? Volunteer your time and engage in community events. And I do that as much as I can. And it's really been great for me. And I realize that I'm living my own life, not the life that other people think I should be living, or not the life that they're living, you know, and this is my life and I'm happy. You know, and really this quote was special. Love is the master key to all the issues of society. And, you know, if we are not practicing love, compassion, kindness, not forming the human nature, deep, meaningful connections, authentic connections with people, then we can't really master, you know, all the issues in society. So that's what I've found really, really important in understanding how socializing as a concept. And when we talk about social engagement, often we think about, you know, big brands who want to engage their audience. And, you know, you can Google social engagement and there's just reams and reams of business content comes up. But actually, on a much deeper interpersonal level, is the social engagement that we all need to feel loved and valued and cared for and healthy and happy. And that's what's truly important in life. So I encourage you to find social engagement that's right for you, to find a social circle that meets your needs at this time, and really to think about, you know, ongoing to keep a social network that's just for you, not necessarily for your kids or even your partner or whatever, that really brings out the best in you and enables you to give the best to others. So I hope you enjoy step 9. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward again to refocusing on it in the month of September. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you again real soon. Okay, bye.